I look like an egg. I don't really know how to not look like an egg. Hello, my name is Bree. This is Idlewild Making, a knitting podcast, and my dog is cleaning himself next to me on the couch. I think I just need to embrace the fact that this will not be a peaceful knitting channel. Anyway, like I said, my name is Bree. This is Idlewild Making, and this is my second episode. It is November 2nd while I am filming this, and my first episode was filmed and posted around May 3rd earlier this year, so it's been quite a long time. I wasn't expecting there to be such a long gap between episodes, but it's been a really busy year. But yeah, I want to say thank you to anyone who has subscribed, and especially if you stay subscribed after such a long break with no videos. I wanted to make a knitting podcast because I don't have anybody in my real life that knits or cares about knitting in any way. No, that's a lie actually. My husband has been getting a little into knitting, but I'm not going to be saying much about that because I don't want to pressure him. So with the exception of my husband, I guess, I don't have anyone to talk to about knitting, and even him, he doesn't understand or care about like patterns or anything. Anyway, the whole point is I just want to talk to people about knitting, and this is the only way I know how to do it currently. So welcome to my knitting podcast. This is going to be quite a long episode actually, because it's been so long since my last one. I have quite a few finished objects. Only a few of them were successful. A couple of them I'm either gonna fix or rip out, but we'll talk about that. And then I have a whole stack of works in progress. And I actually have quite a large yarn haul from New Zealand, which I'm really excited about. I'm already knitting with a few of the yarns. But first I'm gonna get started with what I'm wearing, and then I will put links to the that one website. I'll put links down below. So first with what I'm wearing, this is the Winter's Pullover by Osetta. I knit this last year. I think I finished it earlier this year. This is the color, or this is Cascade 220 in the color Ireland. I love this yarn. I love this color. It's actually my favorite color, if you couldn't tell by the fact that I'm blending in with my living room wall. Love green. It's all over my house actually. And I love this sweater. I really, really love it. I think it's probably one of my favorite knit sweaters. It's so cozy. I can just like be a turtle in it if I really want to. It's a turtleneck. Usually have it folded. I recently detailed it, so it looks really nice. I wore this a lot while we were in New Zealand actually. We arrived there on their last day of winter, and then so it was early spring for the majority of our trip, and it was cold and windy, which was not expecting as much. But anyway, I'm glad I brought all my wool sweaters because I was really comfortable. But yeah, I love this sweater. I love it even more now that I've worn it in New Zealand, which is funny. I'm gonna get started with finished objects, and none of these were works in progress. In my last episode, my first episode, I did talk about the first one in that episode, but it was just a plan, and I since cast it on and finished, and I think I'm gonna rip it out. This is the Sun Gazer by James and Watts, and it looks really good on camera actually, I think, in my opinion. This is knit out of Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. The cream is the color wheat, and then green is olive, and this is copper. And I think I'm gonna rip it out because I made some modifications and they didn't really work. One thing about me is I don't gauge swatch. Most of my problems, I'm sure, could be fixed by gauge swatching, but I don't find that fun, and I knit for fun, so I'm okay if things don't work out and they have to be worked out. It is what it is, I guess. Don't be surprised if that changes in the future. But I did modify it. First is I knit about 3 inches for the sleeves, and then I did an I-cord bind off. The top I had picked up and then did an I-cord bind off, and then the bottom, this is knit in 2 panels, the front and back panel, and then you pick up to do ribbing, but I didn't do ribbing. I wanted the shirt to be longer, so I just knit, my dog just farted. So I just knit straight, and I think this is where I messed up. So I don't know if you can tell, but there's like a bunch of fabric right here, and then it narrows in right here, and then it goes back out here, and it's not flattering at all. I really don't like it. It makes me look and feel like the Michelin Man. So I think I'm gonna rip this out, and I actually think I'm gonna re-knit this because I really enjoyed the pattern. It was fun. I'm gonna do it different, I think. I'm gonna have it so that way one color, like the colors up here, are the same on the back instead of mirrored. So that way when I do the sleeves, it's gonna be in this color as well. So yeah, so this is a finished project. I'm gonna rip it out. Oh my god, did I give any details? I started this May 13th and I finished it June 11th, and I knit this in the size 4. If there's a larger size, I might knit that instead after I rip this out. I should have enough yarn left over, I think. But yeah, this was The Sun Gazer by James and Watts. Looks really good on camera, not so good on my body. Next, I have a small project. This is the Chudy bandana by Bash Harry. I started this June 12th and finished it June 15th, and I knit this in the size 2, and I'm actually really yeah, thank you. Okay, as I was saying, the camera's focusing on his face. This is the Chudy bandana. I knit this in the size 2, and that's where I made a mistake, and I should have knit the larger size. I don't know if that's 3 or 4, but I'm gonna rip out the I-cords and put the body of the bandana back on my needles and just knit it larger. I have a really small head, so that's what I knit the size for, but I didn't take into the account that my hair is massive, as you can tell. I'm just letting it do whatever it wants today. Yeah, I knit this in leftover knitting for olive pure silk in the color copper, and hopefully I get around to fixing this soon because I actually really like wearing bandanas. It gets my hair on my face. So yeah, this was my second finished object. Not much to say about it. This next finished object I'm actually gonna also rip out. This is The Hood by Leah Likey. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name. Anyway, I started this August 2nd and I finished it August 6th, and this yarn is fantastic. This is actually a local yarn to me. This is Deer Creek Alpaca, and this is the natural color. The alpaca that this came from is named Tinkerbella, which is adorable. Yeah, I'm gonna rip this out and use this yarn for something else. I don't know what, but I can't actually see myself wearing this because when I wear it, I look like an egg. I look like an egg. I don't really know how to not look like an egg. I don't know. I can't see myself wearing this. I don't like that it's pointy here. I don't know how to avoid that. And just like it has an egg shape, and I think that might be my fault because I cast on extra stitches under the chin because I don't like my hoods to go like this because I like to accommodate for my hair. Maybe that's where I messed up. I don't know. But I'm gonna rip it out and use this yarn for something else because this yarn is wonderful. I love alpaca. It's actually my first time using alpaca, I think. And I love that it's from an alpaca who lives just an hour away from me. So yeah, it feels really special. And it was a very expensive yarn, so it can't sit in something that I'm not gonna wear. But yeah, this was the hood. Hopefully I'll be ripping this out soon, and then I don't know what I'm gonna make with the yarn instead, but hopefully I don't feel imposter syndrome and make another episode and keep you updated. My next project was a success. My next two projects actually were both successes. I'm really happy with this one. This is the mini mock neck tank by Jessie May. I started this August 6th and I finished it September 6th, so exactly 1 month. I didn't make a note of the size I made, but hopefully I can figure it out and I'll put it in the info card. I knit this in Knit Picks palette in the color Verdant Heathers, and it's such a beautiful yarn. I love it so much. Hopefully this is working, but there's like oranges and reds, some yellow, blue, such a beautiful yarn. I love it so much. I modified this a little bit. This is knit from the top down, so it's pretty easy to modify. I added quite a bit of length to the body because I don't like cropped, and you can probably see in the designer's photo it's intended to be quite cropped, so I added a bunch of length. And then when I finished it and I tried it on, you can actually see my bra under here. So what I did is I picked up all the stitches from each armhole and then did an I-cord bind off to tighten it, and that worked perfectly. It fits perfectly. I love it. I love this tank top. I didn't get much wear out of it because it was way too hot to wear a wool tank top, but hopefully coming up I'll be wearing this quite a bit. My most recent finished object I actually knit to wear with this, so I'm really excited to see that vision come to life. But yeah, this was the mini mock neck tank by Jessie May, and I love it. Some of things work out. My next finished object was also by Jessie May Design, and this is the sunset sweater. And as you can probably tell, it is cropped. I knit this one exactly to pattern. I don't know if my gauge is on gauge, but because I don't gauge swatch. But I'm really happy with this. I actually knit this for a very specific reason, and that was to wear with a dress while we were in New Zealand. And I can put maybe some pictures up here showing you. This is really special because I wore this at Hobbiton, which we visited on our first full day in New Zealand, and I got to see lots of sheep wearing this sweater while I was wearing this sweater, and I got to pretend I was a hobbit for a day. So yeah, I started this August 14th and I finished it August 25th, so it didn't take long to knit. This is the size medium, or the third size, and this is knit in Cascade 220 Sport in the color Brownie. It's just this beautiful deep brown color. Yeah. This is the sunset sweater. It's the same front and back so I don't actually know what side is the front and back, but I love the sweater. I won't be wearing it with jeans or anything because I don't like crop things on my body, but it looks really cute over my dresses. My next finished object, second to last one, this is a hat. This is supposed to be the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. I started this August 30th and I finished it September 11th. I knit the size small, or the second size, and this is also in that Deer Creek alpaca in the color Tinkerbella. And as you can tell, it looks not like it should. I really like that. I actually felted this. I wasn't intending to felt this when I made it, but it actually came out a bit large on me. And if I gauge swatched, I know I could have, you know, adjusted the size I was knitting, but I like to live on the edge. I like to wing it. So it was too large, so I felted it, and it actually fits perfectly now. Although it fits perfectly, but it's really stiff. I don't know, I've never felted anything before, let alone alpaca, so I don't know if that's normal, but it's really stiff. It stands up on its own, but it is warm. Oh, it's so cute. Yeah, I've worn this on while walking my dog on really windy days, and it feels great. I really like it, and it literally stands up on its own. It's so stiff. It's funny. I feel like a little winter princess when I wear this. Yeah, this will definitely be getting a lot more use in the coming months. I actually did wear this in New Zealand, but that was before I felted it. And we went to a beach. I'll put the name of the beach here, but we were the only people on the whole beach because it was getting dark and it was so windy, and it was magical. It was so beautiful. But I was wearing this before I felted it. My hat kept falling over my face, which was really funny. So I knew when we got home I would want to felt it, and I did, and I wish I did it before the trip because it fits perfectly now. Yeah, this was the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. Maybe it still is, I don't know. But I really like this, how it turned out. It's cute. I'm excited for winter to wear more. And my last finished object, probably might be my favorite thing I've ever knit, ever. Really proud of myself. Let me button it up. I actually cast this on September 9th, and we left for New Zealand September 19th. So I cast it on for knitting while in New Zealand, just so I could understand the pattern and knit it comfortably in New Zealand. But I became so addicted. I actually knit quite a large chunk of this before New Zealand, but most of this was knit New Zealand. And anyway, what is this, you may be wondering? This is the Athens cardigan by Soup Knits. Just look at that. Look at that. Oh, so I forgot a button. There we go. This is a cabled cardigan. Oh, it's so beautiful. I love it so much. Yeah, like I said, I started this September 19th and I finished it October 18th. The majority of this was knit while in New Zealand. I can put some photos of that I took knitting this in our camper van on a beach. I'm gonna be talking about this New Zealand trip for the rest of my life, I swear. I've worn this quite a bit. It's actually starting to pill already, but that's okay. I knit the size 5, and this is knit in wool of the Andes in the color Amber Heather, and I knit this using a 5mm needle. Here's a close-up of the yarn. The buttons I got on Etsy. Oops, hit my head on the lamp. I actually purchased buttons for this while in New Zealand, but I didn't have a cardigan with me to compare, and I didn't like them together. So this will go on another project, and I got these ones from Etsy, and they're just a wooden button. The sleeves, there's two versions in the pattern for the sleeves. The original, this is the original, where it's just twisted slip stitch all the way down. You actually knit them inside out. And then earlier this year there was an update to the pattern to have cabled sleeves, same cabled motif, and that was going to be my intention, was to knit the cables, but because I don't gauge swatch, my row gauge, I think, was off, so I could actually only pick up the stitches required for the original sleeve, which I thought was interesting. So that's what I did, and I actually had lost my cable needle anyway, so I couldn't open the cables. Anyway, I did modify this a little bit. The button band I did double knit, which was my very first time doing a double knit button band. And there is actually a mistake I made. I should have gone up a needle size for the button band because it pulls here. The heat is on, it's way too warm inside to wear both of these, so I'm sorry, but as you can tell, it lifts up a little bit. It's not that bad while wearing it. You can notice it more when it's unbuttoned. The bottoms will flare. I could rip out the button band and reknit it, but I actually prefer to wear this partially buttoned with a top underneath. But yeah, oh, I love it. And then for the collar, I did 1x1 twisted rib. Same thing for the cuffs, 1x1 twisted rib. And the body, 1x1 twisted rib. I do wish I knit the body ribbing a bit longer, but it still fits great. I've been wearing this all the time. There's just many mistakes in the cables if you take your time to look, but probably only I will notice that. But yeah, this is a very special cardigan to me, not only because it was my first time doing cables, which was so much fun and actually a lot easier than I thought it'd be. First time knitting a button band, let alone a double knit button band. And yeah, most of this was knit in New Zealand. So yeah, it's really special. I'm really happy with this. I love it. I'm definitely gonna be making more cabled cardigans in my future, I think. I don't know what else to say about this, but this was the Athens cardigan by Soup Knits. That is it for my finished objects, so I'm gonna talk about my works in progress. My dog is sleeping on them. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. I don't need this one too, I'm sorry. The first work in progress was actually a finished object. This, I actually literally just ripped most of it out yesterday. This is the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. I started this October 2nd. I finished it October 12th. And like I said, I ripped most of it out yesterday because I just wasn't happy with it. What's going on here? One sec. I wasn't happy with it because I didn't do the triple folded brim that's in the pattern. I decided to just do the double folded and then knit the hat, but it was a little big on me. Details. I'm knitting this in size extra small, or the size 1, and this is knit one of the yarns I got from New Zealand. This is Zelana Rimu, which is a possum wool blend. Oh, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful yarn. This is the shade 8, or the color Flax. Have the rest of it here. Yeah, this is the label. a beautiful, super soft, super strong yarn. Yeah, like I said, I finished this and I decided I wanted to do the triple fold, so I ripped out and I'm gonna knit it with the brim. I have more than enough yarn to do it. But yeah, this was the Oslo hat. I started this the day before we left New Zealand. Actually, I have a really funny story about this yarn. Or maybe I should talk about it in the yarn haul portion. I don't know. I'm new here. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I'll talk about the story later. But yeah, this will be an Oslo hat. Was and will be an Oslo hat by Petite Knit. I love that hat pattern. So yeah, it's my first work in progress. That is a tongue twister. I'm just keeping it in a packing cube. I don't know where this is from. My next work in progress is a pair of socks. I'm holding them in this cute little produce bag that I got at a grocery store in Tongariro National Park Village, outside of Tongariro National Park, New Zealand. It's cute. It's not practical at all for holding socks, but I just wanted to use it. Anyway, like I said, these are socks. I'm following the counts from the bear paw pattern by Andrea Mowry, but when I make socks, I always use the counts from that pattern, and then I just do whatever I want. I make them 2 at a time. Magic loop. It's kind of a mess right now. I haven't worked on these in like a week. But yeah, this is what they're looking like. I'm halfway through the heel increases, the gusset increases. And I added, I don't know if this is focusing, but I added a pearl round of the white and a pearl round of the brown on the toes just for a little accent. Anyway, so like I said, these are socks. I started them August 9th, and in the bear paw pattern, I'm knitting the size 7, but like I'm not following the pattern. I just like the construction, and the size fits great for me. I am knitting these in Tweedy Socks Alpaca, which I purchased at Knit World in New Zealand, in Lower Hutt, New Zealand, I think. This is what the label looks like. I'll talk more about the yarn later, but these are the 2 colors. They're Tweed Alpaca. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, this is the brown, this is the white, it's tweed, and they're gonna be socks. And these are kind of like my background knitting. These will be finished probably by the end of the year. Yeah, that was my second work in progress. Okay. My next 2 works in progress are also using yarn I got in New Zealand. I'm keeping both of them in this tote bag I got in Wellington. It has sheep on it. I couldn't resist. I am actually knitting a sweater for my husband. This is my first time knitting him anything besides a hat. This is The Next Hoodie by Elida Farak. I'll have the info card next to me, hopefully. And I have not yet split for sleeves, so it's a little difficult to show you. I started this October 24th, and I'm knitting either the size 7 or the size 8. I haven't decided yet. We'll see what fits my husband once I have him try it on later. And I'm knitting this out of a really special yarn. This is from the Stansborough Mill, their yarn brand Mithril, and this is the color Keiko. which is their natural gray. This is just a raglan. It's gonna have a hood and the pocket because that's what my husband really likes wearing. And hey, will you stop looking your butt on camera? This is not that kind of channel. Yeah, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you might actually recognize this fabric. Hold it close. And that is because this is the exact same wool that Gandalf's cloak and the Fellowship cloaks are woven out of, or woven with. And we actually got to tour the mill, and I'll talk more about this later, but yeah, this is a really special yarn. I placed an order after we got done with the mill tour, and I had it, the yarn shipped here, and I got it last week. Cast it on both of these projects I'm going to talk about, and yeah, I'm really excited to be using it. So beautiful, such special yarn. I wish you could feel it. But yeah, like I said, this was the next hoodie, and it doesn't look like much. I'm still doing the yoke increases. I don't even think I'm halfway through. I underestimated how large a men's sweater is. Yeah, I'm really excited to be knitting something for my husband, something that I can wear besides a hat. And yeah, and it feels really special to be knitting it out of the wool that's featured in the Lord of the Rings movies, which he's obsessed with. So yeah, really happy. I'm gonna be working on this for a really long time though. And my last work in progress is for me. And this is the Lakes Pullover by Ozetta. This is my second time knitting this pattern. I'm in the middle of a row. Okay, let me finish that quick, sorry. This is my second time knitting this pattern. I know I'm knitting this off gauge, but I have a vision in my head, and I think it'll work out. I'll tell you more about it. I'm in the middle of the row because I ran out of yarn. It doesn't attach the ball. Oh, I should have thought more about this. Sorry. Okay, this is gonna be nearly impossible to show you since I'm in the middle of the row and there's a lot going on. I've already knit this shoulder, saddles, and the back panel, and I'm working on the front panel. I just gotta get it long enough and then do a few increases for armholes, and then I can join in the round. So yeah. Like I said, this was the Lakes Pullover by Ozetta. This is my second time knitting this pattern. Hey, can you stop doing that, please? Yeah, you. What do you mean this channel? I started this October 6th. I am knitting the size 4, and this is also in the Stansboro Mill yarn, in their yarn line Mithril. Oh, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you know how to say that. I'm not actually a Lord of the Rings fan, but anyway, this is the color Kakariki, which is the green. So beautiful. Such special yarn. Yeah, green is my favorite color, so I had to order some yarn for me. These are very expensive projects, but I couldn't resist. It's just special. Yeah. I'm gonna have to attach this to this later, and I'm gonna be working on this throughout the day. This is my free knitting time. I've been focusing on this, and if I'm watching TV, I've been working on my husband's. I told him he'll probably get this by Christmas next year. So, yeah. I'm not actually a big fan of knitting for other people. I don't know if you can relate. I did it last year for Christmas and I just found it really stressful, and I don't like putting expectations on myself for something that's supposed to be fun. But I feel different knitting this for my husband. I mean, A, because I can steal it from him whenever I want. And B, it's just such a special project, special yarn with a lot of meaning behind it, and it has, you know, a direct connection to his favorite film series. So yeah, so that makes me excited. And I'm going to talk about the yarn I got in New Zealand. So, let's see. The first yarn store I went to was in Knit World in Lower Hutt, New Zealand, which is just north of Wellington. And it is this alpaca sock yarn. I showed this earlier, but it's just this tweed. The tweed is more obvious in the white than in the brown, but I really love them. And this is the label. There's not color names I find. I actually went into this yarn store looking for possum yarn, but I was actually a bit rushed because we were booked to do a tour of the Sandsborough mill, so I didn't have as much time to browse. But I spotted the sock yarn. I love tweed, so I picked it up, and then I also got some buttons that are in my art studio right now. This was the first yarn, was the Tweedy Socks alpaca sock yarn. This is a 65% alpaca, 25% nylon, and 10% Donegal tweed. Yeah, so this is the first yarn I got, some socks. I'm hoping to have enough for 2 pairs of socks. This one I'm doing with the white contrast, and then I'm hoping I have enough for a second pair to do white body, brown contrast. Okay, and then let's see, that night, and then we did the mill tour, which was really special. I didn't purchase any yarn at the tour just because they this yarn you have to, it's back ordered, so they make it when, or they dye it when you order it, I believe. They had a small amount there for me to feel and look at. And we did this mill tour, which was so special. We weren't expecting, we actually were gonna just not show up for this because we didn't think we would have time, because we wanted to do, you know, as much as we could while in New Zealand, and I'm really glad we didn't cancel it. It ended up being just my husband and I, and then the owner of the mill and her daughter. I'm totally spacing on their names. They were so kind, and if you didn't know, the Sandsborough mill actually worked with Peter Jackson. I think they mostly work with Peter Jackson. They worked with him for The Lord of the Rings, and then they also did the Chronicles of Narnia. They own a sheep farm, and this breed of sheep only lives at their farm. This breed does not exist anywhere else in the entire world. It's a very special yarn, very exclusive. And yeah, this gray yarn actually in particular. Oh, this is the this wool is what was used to weave the cloaks, or it provided like Gandalf's hat, which was felted, Gandalf's cloak. Anyway, very special yarn. And the owner, I'm forgetting her name, I'm so sorry, but she actually designed the fabric for the Lord of the Rings stuff. My husband could probably talk more about this. But I was just there for the wool. Anyway, and yeah, it was really cool. They gave us a tour of the mill. They showed us how the weaving process is done. They showed us the design for the cloak, and you can, if you want an exact replica of like the fellowship cloaks, Gandalf's cloaks, you can only get it from there because they're the ones who actually designed the pattern. Anything else you order online is just imitations, and it was just so cool. But they make other things, blankets, so beautiful, and I think there was hats and gloves, and yeah, it was just really special. It was not what we were expecting for a mill tour, but it was really cool. It would be amazing to go see their farm and meet the sheep, but I don't know if that's possible. They showed us like a video of them shearing the sheep, and yeah, so when we were done with the mill tour, we checked into our hotel in Wellington, and we were there for a few days. And I placed an online order for a sweater for my husband and a sweater for me. Yeah, very special yarn. I could talk about it forever, honestly. Okay. And then I think the next day in Wellington, I went to Knit World, maybe 2 days after, and I picked up Zelana Rimu yarn. It's a fingering weight yarn, but if you can tell, I have it caked up, held double for the Oslo hat I'm knitting. This is the color Flax. It is a 60% New Zealand merino and 40% brushtail possum. And possum yarn is something you can only get in New Zealand, so it's really special. Before we went to New Zealand, I had heard about this yarn. I think I had mentioned it in my first episode, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about this yarn because the possum does have to die in order for their fur to be turned into yarn, which, you know, is sad, but actually the brushtail possum is an extremely invasive species in New Zealand, and they're destroying their forests, and they're destroying their native bird populations, such as the kiwi. So it's actually a huge conservation effort on them. So it's sad that they have to die, but it's actually a good thing overall, and we get the benefit of having this beautiful yarn as well, along with saving the New Zealand environment. On the label tag, it does explain more about it. This was the next yarn I picked up. And okay, funny story with this yarn. I got 6 balls of this. It's a fingering weight, or 4 plies, they call it in New Zealand. And like later on in the trip, after we had left Wellington, we went north to Tongariro National Park, and I wanted to start making this hat, and I convinced myself I did not have enough yarn to make this hat. So after we explored Tongariro National Park, did a couple hikes, we actually went to 2 different yarn stores. All the yarn stores I went to were Knit World. I know there were other yarn stores, but unfortunately I learned about them after the fact, after we already left New Zealand. So anyway, so I wanted to find more of this yarn in this color. So the first yarn store, or this Knit World, was in Hamilton, New Zealand. I couldn't find any of this, and I had asked the owner, I asked if she had any Rimu yarn, and that might have been my bad because she didn't recognize the brand, and I didn't tell her possum yarn, so maybe they had it, I don't know, but that's okay. I ended up picking up this sock yarn instead, which was a green. I wound it up It's fingering weight. I want it up to be double because I prefer to knit my socks at DK weight. This is the label. This is the Omana 4-ply sock yarn. It is 35% New Zealand merino, 40% alpaca, and 25% acrylic. I try to avoid plastic in my yarn as much as possible, but with sock yarn I do make an exception for nylon or acrylic in this case. Tell what my favorite color is. I haven't started knitting with this yet, but I have it wound up, ready to go. It is so soft, probably because of the alpaca, and it feels really special that it's New Zealand merino. And yeah, I love this color. So was not successful finding more of this possum yarn, but I did walk away with a couple hanks of a sock yarn. Definitely can get quite a few pairs of socks out of this, I think. And then from Hamilton, we drove to the Knit World in Auckland, and the lady who was working there was so kind. She actually let me go behind the counter so that way she could show me on her computer like where I could find this yarn and drop the label. But I had told her, like, I don't think I have enough yarn. I'm looking for this brand, this color. I bought this at Knit World in Wellington. She's like, well, we could have it sent up from Wellington for you. But our flight was leaving the very next day, so it just wasn't going to be possible. But that was really kind that she was going to put in that effort for me. But she did say they have another possum yarn, and this is Purino. This is 20% New Zealand brush-tailed possum and 80% merino. So in my head, I was just gonna do like a color blocked hat, like this orange and brown. I really do enjoy that color together. It's very retro, very 70s. I like it. Obviously, I had more than enough yarn to knit the hat, so we went to the last 2 yarn stores for no reason whatsoever, and I ended up spending more money than necessary on sock yarn, and I got 2 balls of these, so I don't even know if this is enough to make a hat. I don't know what to make out of this now. Oh, it's so soft though. I wish you could feel it. Oh, can you see that like halo? And my dog's hair. Yeah, so I got 2 different brands of possum yarn, which is really exciting. I don't know what I'm going to make with this yarn now, but I have 2 balls. I'll figure it out. Okay. I think that's everything actually. Need more coffee. If you stuck around this long, thank you. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing my dog do some gross things. Hopefully you enjoyed the chaos that is my life. If you liked what you watched, I would love if you subscribed, like, leave a comment. I'm putting myself out there in order to find some community around knitting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you in the comments below if you feel so inclined, and hopefully there won't be such a large gap between now and my next episode. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!